You Can Always Come Back Home by John Keith and Chance the Rapper. And the reason I love this song so much is because it's a reminder that we all need. I think at this point, it gets so easy to get caught up in, oh, well, I haven't prayed in a super long time. I haven't read the Bible in a super long time. And because of that, we start telling ourselves that almost like we're unworthy of going back to God because whether it's because we haven't prayed in a long time, whether it's because we're struggling with sin and we're struggling with all these other things, and because we feel like we're not living right, we keep telling ourselves, oh, like, I'll go back to God once I get my life together. I'll go back to God once I feel like I'm ready and I feel like I'm not living this life that I'm ashamed of. And Chance, the rapper, had a line in the song where he talked about how he was like, we forget who we are, but God never forgets us. Basically, I'm paraphrasing it, but that was like the essence of the line. And it's so real because while we may get lost in, whether it's in school, we get lost trying to chase success, trying to chase money, chasing women or relationships, chasing, success in work. We can get so caught up in things that we can forget who we are on the inside. We can forget what brings us peace, what makes us happy, because we're so caught up in living these worldly lives where, of course, everyone needs to make money, everyone needs to have, some way of making that happening. But if we're not careful, it gets easy to put those things above God. And when we're doing that, once we look back on it, it's just far too easy to say, oh, well, I've been living like that for a long time and maybe I'm too far gone. Maybe it's too late for me to go back, or maybe I'll just wait until I'm in a better place mentally. I'll wait until I'm in a better place emotionally, until I'm just a better person overall before we go back to God. But the thing is, we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait until we're this ideal person because the way that I think about it, it's almost like if you lock yourself out of your house and, or let's say not necessarily you lock yourself, but let's say you go somewhere. Let's say you take a trip and let's say you're gone for 2 weeks and you have your house key, but you come back home and you're like, I don't know if I can go inside because I have plants that I haven't been watering in 2 weeks. I might have, a cat or whatever, or pets that I haven't seen in a really long time. And so we get into this mindset, this way of thinking. It's almost like saying, because of those things, even though you have a key to literally get into your own house, you're like, well, because those plants might have needed me, because my cat might have needed me, and I wasn't there, I shouldn't go back home. And so you literally just like never go back in your house. But it's like you literally have the key to go back home. And it's almost like the same thing with God, where it doesn't matter how far we've gone, it doesn't matter how long it's been since we've prayed or gone to church or done these things. We have an everlasting relationship with God. So no matter what, through prayer, through spending time in the Word, that's our key to literally get back, to get that access to God. And when we don't take advantage of those things, it's like having a key to the house and being like, oh, well, I guess I'm screwed. What can I do? And it's so beautiful because for me, whenever I think of Jesus, I think of the chosen and I think about just how calm his demeanor was. And oftentimes, situations where a lot of us would have gotten really tensed and nervous and frustrated, it just makes me think that, that's how Jesus must be with us on a daily basis, where even though we get into these traps of overthinking and thinking, oh, well, I'm not worthy of this because of the things that I've done. I'm not worthy of this because of the way that I've been living. Jesus doesn't look at us that way. Jesus doesn't judge us and go, oh, well, they've done this one thing. They're kind of, I guess, beyond repair at this point. If anything, Jesus still gets excited to welcome us back. And I think for me, watching The Chosen, even though I haven't finished it yet, has been such a game changer because seeing the way that he treats Peter, seeing the way that Jesus treats, Matthew, where these are people that weren't always the most likable in terms of their actions and all of these things, but the way that Jesus embraced them with such warmth and kindness, it was so beautiful because it's a constant reminder of the way that he embraces us, no matter how far we think we've fallen, no matter how frustrated we are, because we've made the same mistake time after time after time. And it almost reminds me of how, if you had a really good friend, right? And you guys were close for like 5 years, 10 years, and then you both went your separate ways, whether it was college, whether it was someone got a job out of state, whatever. And you kind of kept in touch here and there, but things kind of fizzled out. And then you saw them for the first time in a long time, and you might have been kind of nervous, like, oh no, it's going to be awkward. I don't know. What am I even going to say? But then you see them, and instantly it's like conversation just picks back up, like nothing ever happened. Like there was never a gap in the friendship, like you guys were together all along. And that's the way I believe that it is with Jesus as well, where no matter how long it's been since we've strayed away, he's just happy to see us back. And it's the same thing with like a long lost friend. If they see you for the first time in years, they're not going to sit there and go, oh, well, you haven't texted me in 3 years, or you haven't, it's been X amount of time. If it's a real friend that you really were tight with and everything, they're just going to be excited to see you, to hear your voice again, to see you in person, to be able to laugh with you. And so they're not going to sit there and just focus on your shortcomings and kind of beat you up for those things. And I think that's something that's just so beautiful about being a Christian and about believing in such a kind and loving God as well. And so I'm looking at my outline here to make sure I'm touching on everything that I wanted to touch on. But I also wanted to talk about just why that line by Chance the Rapper was so impactful for me was just because I feel like in my life personally, I've been in situations where I've gotten so caught up in school and just all of these other things where for a while when I was in dental school, I was so focused on just trying to do everything that I could to graduate, to make it to that finish line. And in the process, when I first started dental school, I kind of put God on the back burner. And I was like, okay, well, I need to figure out what it is that I need to do. But of course, things ended up getting so difficult during my second year of dental school that I felt like I had no other choice but to come back to God. I felt like I had no other choice but to seek Him for that strength to finish school and to help renew my mindset towards school as well. Because it was starting to hit a point where I was starting to look at school in such a negative light that I felt like the only way for me to really make it through both mentally, emotionally, and spiritually was to go back to God. And thank God, like, He gave me the strength and everything to push through and to graduate. And also, I think it was one of those things where there have been so many instances in my life where I felt like, man, I've gone really far away from God. Because even when I was single, I would get so caught up in, oh, well, I'm single now. I still haven't found anyone. I'm still out here, like, going on these dates that aren't working out. And so I started to get so consumed with all these dates I was going on and all these things that weren't working out that in the process, like I was trying to take matters into my own hands. And what only ended up happening when I did that was I just got more and more frustrated with time because as more and more time went on, I just started sitting here going, man, I feel like I'm doing everything that I can, but how come things still aren't working out to my favor? How come, I thought this one girl, I thought things were really promising and then things didn't work out. It's like, why is this happening exactly? And so it was one of those situations where in life it just gets so easy to think the more down bad we are, it's almost like the more that we pull away from God. And it's almost like the more that we turn the other way. When in reality, no matter how down bad we are, if we're really down, that's when God wants us to turn towards Him, That's when God wants us to go to him. God, in a lot of ways, is almost like a best friend where he wants us to talk to him when we're frustrated. He wants us to talk to him when we're tired. He wants us to talk to him when we just feel like, man, I can't keep going. I can't figure this out. I don't know what's going on. That's when he wants us to go to him. He doesn't want us to always just go to him when everything is amazing and everything is peachy and we're on top of the world, because that's not life. You know, we're not on top of the world 100% of the time. It's like being in school. It's like you're going to have exams where you feel like, man, like I killed that. Like I went in, you know, I probably got like a 90% or 95, whatever. But you're also going to have exams where you walk out and you're like, what just happened to me? Like, holy cow, that was hard. Or what is life? And I've been on both sides of that. And it's one of those things where, because that's how life goes, that's why God needs to be the one constant in our life. And the reason this song is so amazing is because it's a relatable message for all of us. One of the things with my YouTube channel is I want to be, I want to make Christian content, but at the same time, I don't really want to be like a Christian content creator or Christian influencer, because the thing is, I think on YouTube and on social media, you have content from a lot of Christians where it almost seems like they make it seem like they have everything figured out. They make it seem like, oh, well, you know, I don't watch, you know, porn or whatever, or I don't masturbate. And so, but you just see a lot of the triumphs, I think. But I think it's important as Christians that we talk about things that we are struggling with, that we talk about things that we are trying to improve. And I think there's something that's so beautiful about that, because as humans, we're meant to connect over, of course, the good times and the triumphs, but also over the bad times. And that's what's so amazing about this, is that it's through that connection that it allows us to keep pushing forward, to continue to elevate together. Because one thing for me, when I'm on social media or whatever, and I'm just seeing content about, oh, so and so's doing amazing in this, and so is crushing it at this, it's like, okay, well, that's cool. Like, yes, I'm happy for them, but at the same time, just because one person doesn't struggle with masturbation or self pleasure doesn't mean that they don't struggle with greed or pride or lust, maybe in other ways. And I think that's what's missing, I think, from the Christian community on the internet, is talking about our downfalls, talking about things that we're struggling with, and just having honest dialogue about those things. And so I see some people in the comments here. I see, um, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the love. I hope you're having a good day over there, man. And so thank you for commenting on the live. I appreciate your love and this and the support as well. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you had a good weekend. And if you have work tomorrow, I hope you have a blessed day as well. But yeah, I think when it comes down to it, there's just a beauty in being vulnerable and being honest. And I think that's why I love John Keith so much as an artist, because a lot of his music revolves around that. It revolves around him just being transparent and honest about his struggles. Because if you listen to his album Grow Wings, it's such a beautiful album where I'll probably have to do more videos kind of talking about some of those songs, because some of those songs are just amazing, and it's just the artistry and the way that those songs are written and produced. It's some of the best artistry that I've heard on an album, like a Christian album in general, in a long time. Because this album almost sounds so cinematic when you're listening to it. You almost feel like you're listening to a movie of this person just kind of spilling his heart and soul about different struggles that he's had. And I think as humans, that's what we love to see. That's not necessarily that we love to see people struggle, but we love to feel connected to people. And there's nothing to feel connected about when it comes to just people sharing successes. And this is why I was having a conversation with my wife this morning, and we were talking about how flex culture is dying. Whether you look at music, whether you look at social media, people going on social media like, Instagram or whatever, and just talking about, oh, well, they have a Range Rover, or they drive a BMW, or they have all these designer bags, or they fly private. All of these things, people aren't really interested in like that anymore. People don't really idolize that type of stuff anymore, because everyone is focused on trying to do the best they can for themselves, for their family, and all of those things. And so people going online and only talking about, oh, I make this amount of money, or, I have all of these expensive things and I live in this huge house. People don't relate to that anymore. And that's the problem, is that nobody wants to see content where people are only talking about their successes. As humans, people want to see the failures. People want to see the frustrating times. People want to see those times where, you're crashing out, or the times after you're crashing out because you're trying to figure something out. No one cares to really just see all the highlights. And so I see Marco said hi. Hey, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a great day so far. I hope you had a good weekend. Hopefully, you got to spend some time, whether with, friends or with loved ones. And even if you didn't get to, I hope you got a chance to get some rest as well, and everything. And so I hope going into the week, you're feeling rejuvenated and excited. And so, yeah, I think there's something about that, when it comes to John Keith. And I was super excited to see Chance the Rapper get on that song with him as well, because Chance the Rapper is another guy that I've been a huge fan of for a long time. Like, I remember when he dropped Acid Rap, when he dropped 10 Day. I used to love listening to those mixtapes. And even Coloring Book was really good. And I felt bad because of all the, I guess, ridicule that he got when he dropped Best Day Ever. Uh, but I feel like even with his last album that he dropped, I felt like that song, or not that song, that album was really good. I think the intro, he has that intro where that, he sampled Cleo Soul. What was it called? Because the album was called Star something. Starline. Yeah, he has that song where he sampled Cleo Soul, and I think it was the intro. Um, yeah, the Star Side intro. That was probably my favorite song on the album, just because I'm a huge Cleo Soul fan. And so hearing him sample Cleo Soul, and just like, I just remember the first time I heard that song, I was like, holy cow, like, this is amazing. So if you guys haven't listened to the Starside intro by Chance the Rapper, I highly recommend it. That song, and of course, Sunday Candy. I might do another video talking about that song as well. Just talking about the way that it brings so much hope and light into the world. And I think I love the idea of just talking about music and talking about other things that help to unite us as people. I think music is such a beautiful thing, because whether you're rich, poor, whatever, like, almost everybody loves listening to music. And so music has a way of bringing people together, and I think that's what's amazing about it. And so, if you guys stayed for this entire live, I really appreciate you guys. I wanted to wrap up by just talking about how, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how long it's been since you last prayed, since you last read the Bible. Let's say if you are struggling, with masturbation or greed or pride, and let's say you were good for like a week or 2 weeks or whatever the case may be. Or let's say lust. Let's say you're in a relationship but you're struggling with lust. You're, on social media, you're staring at women and all these things in a way that you shouldn't be. And let's say you were good for a week and you fell back in it. I want to make this video to say that just because, yes, you might have fallen back into it, yes, you might be doing things that you're not necessarily proud of, I want to say that continue to pray, continue to go to God for it, because there's this verse in the Bible. I can't remember. I think it's James. think it's James chapter 1, verses 2 to 3, something like that. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's, I know I wrote it down. Because I don't want to say the wrong verse and then I'll like feel terrible. But yeah, yeah. It was James chapter 1 verses 2 to 3. Holy cow, I got it. So basically I love it because it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." There's something that's just so special to me about that Bible verse because I don't even have tattoos, but like I'm thinking about like getting that tatted somewhere, just like James chapter 1 verse 2 3, like just because I think it's so cool the message where it talks about how whenever you're struggling with anything, consider it joyful because it's when we're struggling with things that we have that opportunity to go to God. It's when we're struggling that we have that opportunity to really test our faith. And it's our chance to prove to God that we trust Him. Because, yeah, no matter what it is, nothing is going to be smooth sailing. You know, there's always going to be times where another struggle is going to come up. We're going to conquer one thing just to see another thing pop up. We're going to, conquer one beast just to see another beast pop up. But every time the beast pops up, it's an opportunity. And so what we need to do is we need to rewire our brains to see struggle as opportunity instead of a weakness. And so I see that main VR said hi. Hey, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good weekend. And I'm hoping that you had a chance to kick it with some loved ones and friends. And I'm hoping that you're going into this week feeling rejuvenated and just ready to go. But yeah, I wanted to talk about how it's amazing because I used to always see difficult times as times to be like, woe is me, and times to kind of feel sorry for myself. But lately, I've really been switching my mindset. So instead of like beating myself up, instead of being like down on my luck that things are difficult and, oh, I wish things were easier, I'm trying to get to that point instead of considering everything a blessing because it truly is a blessing to to have these opportunities to go to God and to continue to trust God no matter how easy or difficult things get. And so, yeah, no matter how long it's been since you've prayed, I want you to know that you can always go back and that God is always waiting for us. For me, it's like I've had times where I've been good reading the Bible. I've had times where I've been not so good. I've had times where, I've gone weeks or months without really reading the Bible. But I try not to focus on, oh, it's been X amount of time since I've spent time in the Word and God must be so upset with me. And instead, I'm like, no, you know what? Like, I'm going to go back to spending time in the Word. I'm going to go back to doing these things. And so I hope that this video helped you guys. I hope that if there's anyone struggling with this stuff, please leave a comment below. And I would love to see how this video helped you guys. And so if you stayed all the way through, I really appreciate you guys. I want to say definitely like, comment, subscribe for more videos just like this. And I'll talk to all of you guys in the next video. Have a good night.